Hi design thinkers, today we are going to be building out an input field inside of Figma. This is going to be part one where we build out our label. So if this interests you, then sit back, relax, and let's jump into the video. Okay, here we are inside of Figma. We're going to be building out our input section. We're going to be building this input section that you can see here, and we're going to be getting into how we do all of these inside of our input field. So we're going to be breaking this down, and then we're going to be taking this step by step by step. I'm going to be putting this video into some quick, easy, short videos covering each of these points. First one we're going to be covering is building out our label. If you're interested in getting through the label, then let's go. We will break this down. Overall, you can see the input section. Behind the input section, if I was to chuck a frame, you'll notice that this label here basically fills the input like piece, but it has this where it sits on either side of our input field, and it has this bar that hides the outline. So that's the goal of today. We are going to get started. We grab out our text label. Now I have all these already labeled out myself, so there's text label, which is fantastic. I have my bar inside of here. I will drag out this bar. I'm going to give it a lighter color just to make it a little easier on all of us. I'll drag that up. I can make this like 1 pixel high, which is fine. But what I would recommend is either using a rectangle for this, for the bar, or we are using our frame. But if you're using a frame, make sure you keep it as a static frame. If you're not, then it doesn't really matter. But here we go, text label, bar. We'll call this, I'm just going to call this my bar. And what I need is actually a couple of sections. I'll grab my text. I'm just going to grab a frame, have a frame around my text, and set my text just to a little bit of a darker color, make it a little bit different than my bar at the moment. I will auto lay out my frame. I'm going to remove the top and bottom, but I will actually add in 8 pixels of padding to the left and right, and we'll see how that all works out very shortly. What I can call this is actually label section. And now that it's my label section, I can drag it down, and I'll just get rid of that text out of there. And I'm gonna chuck in my bar. I will make, as I said, I need that to be fixed. I want the bar to be 1 pixels high, but I don't want it to do that. I will set that bar in the middle, and I'm going to make it 4 pixels on either side. And if I look at my bar at the top, I have it at the moment at 22 in height. I will make sure that this will also be 22 at height. And now I know that my bar is sitting in the middle of my frame, and it goes out to either side, and it's 4 pixels of padding. I don't need this to be an auto layout anymore. So now that is a generic base frame, what I do need to do is make sure that this bar works the way I expect it. I quickly just smash it into center mode, and then I set the left and right to anchor to the left and the right. So the bar will stay 4 pixels on either side, but it will stretch out as the frame that it's in stretches out. But my frame is called the wrong name, so I'll switch that over and call this my bar section, this my label section, and now I have both of my sections I need. I can select both of these and press Shift A, and now I put them into a big frame. All I need to do is make sure that they are both overlapping one another like a layer stack. So the way that we do that is we can select our bar. The bar is going in the background, and it's going to be anchoring from the left to right of the frame. So I'll go to background, set this to a loop. I'll center it in my frame, drag it up my layer stack. Another way we could do this would be to switch the way that we are stacking our elements in the canvas. If we switch that, we could switch the way we layer them, but I am not doing that one. So now we have bar in the background and our text layer at the top. We'll remove that, and I'm going to remove the fill there. I'm going to set that fill back just for the time being so we can see what we are doing, because I'm making this on a black background being white. Now what we can do is we need our label to end up having another bit of padding on either side. We've got 4 here, 4 here, 4 there as it gets to the text. And this at the moment is centered. So what I'm going to do is grab this out, and I am going to, oh no, I'll keep it inside, my bad. I need it to anchor now at where it's at. So if I set it to anchor, there's 4 pixels here, 4 pixels here, and then this is anchoring. Now, because it's anchoring and this is going to hug the content, if I start typing into here, as you can see, this will stick 4 pixels from the frame that it's in, and it will be another 4 pixels from the frame that both of these 2 elements are in. You might say, hey Matt, that doesn't make any sense. Why are we doing that? If we had a container and then we had it with some rounding, let's say we set it to 8. There's 8 pixels where it curves right here. So what we need to do is we get this label. We are setting that label over the top of the frame, but just before the curve finishes, the label part sticks, and it sticks up against the edge. And that's why we did it that way. And of course, if you had different type of rounding, you'd change the spacing, so on and so forth. The best part about this is now we actually have a label. And it's not just a label for an input field. We could do this label for anything. So I'm going to create a component. And now I'm going to call this component my label component. And it's already called label. So we're already halfway there. I'm going to set this component up by setting up some parameters inside of it. So first of all, what I can do is I'm just going to make these 2 layers actually set to a visibility. I will say here, show my label, and it will be true because I want that to be the default. So show label, and I will actually make sure that I also have this as label. So if I was to drag this out, we could hide our label, or we could type up new text, press enter, and there we go. Done. We're winning at life. We're going to select our label, and as I said, we had our background. I'm going to remove that fill because I don't want it. And what I'm going to make sure is I have 2 colors assigned to the 2 different items inside of here. So we will make my text the white bar. I'm going to have a black input field. So let's say I'll go for my 800 there. And I am going to turn my text to the white. There we go. And in the next part, we're going to be getting into taking our label, building it into our input field, building out the different states of the input field. So if this has been helpful in any way, please let me know in the comment section below. And until next time, design thinkers, keep thinking and keep designing awesome things. I'll see you in the next part.